So what exactly does it mean to dress like old money? In addition, why would you even want to dress like old money? It sounds boring, and the reality is most people aren't rich. Let's start things off by answering that first question. So when you dress old money, typically this means adopting a style that exudes a sense of timeless elegance, sophistication, and wealth. So based off that definition, we answered the second question because it just makes sense that people would want to give a signal of, hey, I'm timelessly elegant, I'm sophisticated, and who knows, maybe I could be wealthy someday. But seriously, gents, building an old money wardrobe, in my opinion, is smart because you're building a wardrobe that isn't going to go out of style. An old money wardrobe sends the message that you're polished, that you're refined, that you are professional. So the first part of this video, I'm going to lay out a handful of rules that will ensure you get the old money look. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to talk about particular items that you're going to want to pick up to add to your wardrobe to give it that old money feel. So rule number one, quality over quantity. Now, if you've watched at least a few of my videos, you've heard me say this before, but it bears repeating, especially if you're going to build an old money wardrobe. The quality of the items that you're going to add to your wardrobe matters. Now, does this mean you've got to be rich, that you have to spend a lot of money on those items? No. You need to be able to spot quality because then you can spot items that are on sale, items that normally would cost $1,000 on sale for $300, and you know to be able to grab that pair of shoes when you see it and it's a deal. And to be straight up, gents, you don't even have to spend hundreds of dollars. You can go into a thrift store, you can raid your father, your grandfather, your uncle's closet and say, hey, he's not wearing this anymore. This is a classic item and it's still in style because it's timeless. Boom, all of a sudden you're able to add this classic tie, this classic blazer to your wardrobe. And I know so many of you guys are going to be tempted to buy cheap, but don't do it. Instead, stick with the boring classics because guess what? They're going to be interchangeable. They're going to be versatile. You can work and wear these with other items in your wardrobe. You're going to get more mileage out of them. It's better to have less than to own a bunch of just cheap crap that is never going to look good and definitely won't fit into an old money wardrobe. Rule number two, timeless elegance over trends. I get it, gents. The whimsical winds of fashion draw us in. We see our favorite athlete wearing a particular brand, a particular item, and yes, it's trending. We want to jump on it. We want to look cool. But here's the thing. If you go with what that musician's wearing right now, it's going to be out of style within a few months. Again, gents, we want to go with timeless items that have been around for a decade, have been around for 50 years. Because guess what? If it's been around for 50 years, it's going to be around for another 50. Now, I get it. Some of you guys are saying, well, this is boring. But think about how it's going to affect your wallet, because you go out there and you spend a lot of money on a trendy piece and then it's out of style. You don't want to be wearing it. You only got a handful of wears out of that item versus something that's timeless. You could wear this hundreds of times. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of it. And because you're going to get more mileage out of this particular item, you can justify spending a bit more. Remember, gents, the style theory of value? The value is equal to the number of wears times how it makes you feel divided by the price. Old money rule number three, focus in on fit. Gentlemen, you can spend $1,000 on a suit, but if it doesn't fit you, it's not going to look good. Compare that with a suit you had handed down to you from an uncle. You have it adjusted to fit you. It looks great. In fact, every time you put it on, it feels and makes you look like $1,000,000. Remember, gentlemen, fit is king. Rule number four, stick with a conservative color palette. Seriously, over 90% of an old money wardrobe is going to be in the colors of charcoal, black, navy, gray, white, light blue, and camel. What do all these colors have in common? They're timeless, they're versatile, and they're sophisticated. Next up on our list of old money style rules, you take care of the items in your wardrobe. Shoes in particular. You own a shoe shine box and you condition and shine your shoes after every wear. All right, so maybe you don't have to condition them after every wear, but you're taking care of them. When you get a scuff, when you get a nick, you are making sure to change out the laces after 100 or 200 wears when they start to fray. The buttons on your shirts, on your jackets, whenever they become loose, you actually have them repaired. Your automatic watch that you've had for over a decade, if it needs to be serviced, you send it in to get taken care of. Now, I know taking care of your clothing seems obvious to most, but many men coming from the world of disposable fashion, of t-shirts and sweatpants, they're used to, okay, something wearing out pretty quickly and just throwing it away. With old money wardrobe, these items can last you decades if you take care of them. And speaking of accessories, let's talk about the next rule, accessorize wisely. So you don't want to bring in a whole bunch of bling. You're not going to bring in something that's trendy, something that's oversized. You want to keep it simple, whether it's going to be your briefcase, whether it's going to be that classic looking backpack. When it comes to your watch, you don't want anything over the top. When it comes to the jewelry you wear on your hands, around your neck, you want to keep this all simple, timeless, and elegant. Now, does this mean you need to be boring? No, you can definitely bring in a signature piece. But what I'm saying here is that old money style is not flashy money style. Remember, gents, it's not about signaling wealth. It's about sending the message that I don't have to signal wealth because I'm self-assured as to who I am. And that takes us to the next rule about confidence. So when it comes to confidence in clothing, that comes from practicing wearing it and knowing when you put this stuff on that it feels good, that it looks good. You've received compliments. You know how to piece items together. In fact, the outfit that you go to, you've actually worn before. You know that it looks good on you. You know there are going to be no issues with anything, having loose threads. This is your go-to. You feel like $1,000,000 outfit. Now, a lot of guys think that somehow wearing a sports jacket, wearing a blazer, wearing nice chinos or something is going to be uncomfortable. Guys, nothing could be further from the truth. Maybe it's unfamiliar because you're not used to wearing it, and that's why you've got to put in the reps. It's like going to the gym. Whenever you first show up at the gym, you don't know what those machines do. You're trying to say, hey, what exercises should I do in what order? By the 50th time you're going to the gym, you actually have a routine down, you know where things are at, and you're really getting into your groove. In fact, if you start to miss going to the gym, all of a sudden you actually feel like you're missing something out of your routine, out of your life. The same thing is true with an old money wardrobe. Whenever you don't dress well and you're around others, you actually start to feel like you're underdressed. You're not representing who you are. I talk about the clothing we wear sends the message to others with you not having to say a word. And that's what old money style for me is all about. You being able to signal, hey, I'm somebody that's trustworthy. I'm somebody that is worth doing business with. I'm somebody that you can invest your time and money into. All right, guys, so now let's get into the particular items that you're going to want to add to your wardrobe. I'm not going to cover everything, but I'm going to start off with, hey, these are the basics that you have to have. First up, the suit, but not just any suit. You don't want to walk into a box store and buy something that is cheap, made from a couple $100. And the issue being is these type of suits, or cheap ones, are going to be glued right here in the chest piece. They're also going to have they're going to have overstructured shoulders. They are just going to look, they just don't look great, especially when you're sitting back, when you're relaxed. And that's why I highly recommend you look at, suits in maybe the $500 plus range. Go to the best menswear store in your area. Go into a store. I've talked about a number of them. Suit Supply is a great option. Mostly the suits I wear. What I like about them is that they've got, a piece right in here. Basically, they're structured with horsehair and it moves with you. And this is key, that they're structured in a way that there's a bit of movement, because you want something when you put it on, it's incredibly comfortable. You don't want anything that is just over the top structured that is going to get in the way, and just, a timeless old money type of style is going to be a suit that you can actually wear. You've heard of lounge suits. I'm not going down that range, but I am saying that this is a suit you could actually relax in. You could take a nap in if, you so choose. Point being is you're going to feel comfortable enough in this that you can be relaxed. And that's key to actually getting the right type of suit we're looking for. Now, do you want to go fully unstructured in the shoulders? You don't need to, but I do like it, personally. Again, try on a variety of different styles. Again, go to the best menswear store in your area and feel the jackets, feel the shoulders. A lot of them actually, they overstuff the shoulders and they don't pack the cotton correctly. This one right here, it pretty much doesn't have anything, just a little bit of structure here. And I know that for me is what's a signal of a better quality made suit. When I'm saying suits, I'm talking a jacket and trousers made from the same material. A lot of guys always think suits are something that you wear, when you're going to be going to an interview, maybe a formal occasion, but there is such a thing as a suit that you can lounge around in. And you want to become comfortable in the suit. That's the key, is to actually have a few of these that you can start wearing, and you can actually dress them down. You don't always have to wear them with a tie. But another thing with the suits is the color. So in general, charcoal, navy, and medium gray. Those are going to be the first three that you want to start with. But if you've already got those, or hey, Antonio, I feel pretty comfortable, I want to bring in maybe just a little bit of pattern. You can bring in a subtle pattern. I always like herringbone. You can also bring in bird's eye right here. I've got a little bit of a check pattern. You can't even really see it. It looks solid from a distance. And if it looks solid from about 2 to 3 feet out, you're pretty much safe with the pattern. I do think that patterns can add a bit of, they can make it a little bit less versatile, but it's, we're splitting hairs here. Point being is that you find something that is incredibly comfortable for you. That to me is the most important part. And again, you're following the rules that we talked about at the very beginning. You're making sure you get something that fits your body. You want to make sure the suit fits you really well. If you're a little bit heavier set, maybe go with higher waisted trousers and you would be wearing suspenders with this. If you're really trim, or if you've got a bigger built upper body, you're going to want to make sure it fits you right up here, and you may have to get it adjusted again by the tailor to make sure it contours to the curves of your body. Now remember, one of the rules we talked about was neutral color palettes. You're going to make sure to stick with that with the suits because they're going to be one of the more expensive items that you add to your old money wardrobe. But again, if you get the right suit, you go with a classic notch lapel, you've got the shoulders right on this, you're not doing anything crazy on this. Everything here is classic in design. This is a suit that could last you 20 years if you take care of it. And if you're looking at materials, you're wondering, okay, what is this Super 120 versus a 110 versus a 150 versus a 180? Know that pretty much anything over 100 is going to be fine. You'll see some Super 80s out there, maybe in vintage shops, and that may be a little bit too rough. Usually the higher the number, the tighter the weave and the softer the material is going to be, which isn't always a great thing. You don't want something with too much sheen or too much shine to it. A Super 120, a Super 140 in worsted wool, which is basically just a tightly woven wool, is in general what I look for. Now, depending on the number of suits you have, let's say it's 3, you want to have at least 2 to 3 times as many dress shirts. It really depends on how often you're wearing these items, but if it's pretty much every day, let's say you're working a white collar job, or you're just simply, hey, I wear suits quite a bit, I think you should have 3 shirts for every suit. And you want to make sure that these are 3 shirts that work. And the easiest way to do this is to stick with a classic white. It's pretty much going to work with any suit color, even a white suit, which I'm not going to recommend as one of your first 10. But light blue is another great color combination, and you can change up the styles of the collar. You can go, right here I've got a classic button down, which is going to be very casual, and we'll talk about that in a second. You could also bring in stripe patterns on the shirts. I think that a very thin blue stripe on a white background is a very classic look and is a great, actually pretty versatile. You can wear this with a wide variety of different suit combinations. That being said, if you want to bring in other shirt colors, look to pastels. You're going to see pinks, you're going to see lavenders, you're going to see mint greens. I think that these are not as versatile as the aforementioned colors. That being said, I know a lot of guys like it, and if it works with your color tone, let's say you've got really dark skin or really light skin, and again, you hold those colors up to your skin and you really just like the way they work, then go for it. Now, what about dark colored dress shirts? Well, technically they don't exist. It's only going to be in the lighter colors that we see dress shirts, but I know that they do exist, but they are more casual button downs than they are dress shirts. If you really like the combination, you're going for a monochromatic look, that's great. It could be your style, but understand it's not going to be an old money look. Old money, they stick with a lot of these rules that have been around for decades. Does it make sense? Not really, but these rules, and they've been used by class to be able to, kind of identify who understands the rules. One of them is going with a lighter colored shirt with a darker colored jacket. Pretty much the white with a darker color, the light blue with a darker color. This right here just sends the signal that you understand how to pair these two together. Now, I talked about I'm wearing a button-down collar. There's a wide variety of shirt collars out there. The 2 most common are going to be the spread collar, and by far the most common is the point collar. Point collars are actually made to be worn with a necktie. That's when they look most complete. So if you're going to be, not really wearing a necktie, I would recommend going with a spread collar or a button-down collar. Now, the button-down collar, this came out of the Polo field. It's been around for over 100 years. The company Brooks Brothers are the ones that made this popular. I think it looks great on a classic Oxford shirt, which is another option. It's technically not a dress shirt, but it looks like a dress shirt, and it's made from an Oxford fabric, which is going to be a looser, heavier weave. It's great for spring, great for the fall. It's a very hard-wearing fabric, and it's classic, and I think looks good, and yeah, nothing wrong with adding an Oxford shirt to your wardrobe. Now, we talked about suits, but what about the blazer? What about the sports jacket? So both of those, I think, should be in an old money wardrobe, and the question is, are you going to find reasons and times to wear it? I think the answer should be yes. For me, sports jackets are where it's at. Actually, this is part of a suit, but I am wearing it separate, almost like a sports jacket. If you watch any of my videos, the majority of the time I'm wearing sports jackets. Now, why go with the blazer? They've really fallen out of fashion for a lot of people, but they are still in an old money wardrobe because there are so many options, especially when it comes to the materials. So you're going to see serge out there. You're going to see jersey. You're going to see a lot of lightweight materials that are very breathable in these blazers. The majority of them are going to be of a navy color or a dark blue. You're going to occasionally see a regatta blazer out there. That's not part of an old money wardrobe, so skip on that. But what I like about navy, again, this palette right here, and not using just a suit jacket, is that you've got a separate jacket that's made to be worn with a variety of other trousers, other colors right there. The combination with the navy, I think, is a really nice combination. And you can pull off a suit jacket with, odd trousers, but the problem there is when you separate your suit, you risk damaging it or maybe sending it off to cleaners or bleaching it a little bit lighter than your trousers if you wear it enough, and then all of a sudden you're out a suit versus actually just, your blazer is made, I think, and it looks better because of the styles, and you're going to see the buttons also change up on the blazers. Often they have a nautical theme. They're going to be gold, silver. You could even go with a white ivory or a mother of pearl. Next up, let's talk about your shoes. And can you notice what we're doing here? We're putting a full outfit together. So for every suit you have in your wardrobe, I like to think a man should have a pair of shoes for them. Not saying you need to go overboard. I know tons of guys that got 20 suits and they've only got 5 pairs of shoes. So first up, let's talk about Oxfords, in particular Balmoral Oxfords. Some people just call them Balmorals, other people call them Oxfords. I'm going to use both of them. Right here, we've got a cap toe, so it makes it a little bit more casual. But right here, we've got what's known as a closed lacing system. A closed lacing system is when the back part of the shoe, the quarter, actually goes under the front part of the shoe, known as the vamp. Now this shoe right here in black is going to be a classic dress shoe. If I were to wear this with a dark colored suit, a white shirt, and dark colored necktie, right there, that's going to be a classic business suit combination. Next up, let's talk about the blucher. The big difference here is these are going to be more casual because of their open lacing system. So the back quarter of the shoe actually goes on top of the vamp. This style has always been considered to be more casual. You can also tell this is a more casual shoe because of the color. You're going to see bluchers in a variety of lighter colors, although you will still see Oxfords in lighter colors, but I think that lighter colored dress shoes in general are going to be more casual, and the design also signals that this is more casual. So I could wear this with a light colored suit, maybe if I'm just wearing a polo with it or a dress shirt, deciding to opt not to wear the necktie. Now another classic shoe for old money is going to be the brogue. Now the brogue, as you can tell right here, is because of all the design. And you're going to see brogues both in open and closed lacing systems. This one actually has a closed lacing system, so a little bit dressier. And there are all types of brogues out there. You're going to see quarter brogues, you're going to see semi-brogues, full brogues, and even long wing brogues. Now full brogues are also known as wingtip brogues, and that's actually the style that I've got right here. The holes used to go all the way through. Nowadays they do not. They're for straight up decoration. But right here, as you can see on the toe, we've also got a medallion. Again, it's just a design. It does make them a little bit harder to polish, but I really like the look of it, and it gives a bit of a more casual feel. And let's not forget loafers. What I love about loafers is that they come in a wide variety of styles. You can find them with rubber bottoms, so incredibly comfortable, even if you're going to be walking through Chicago during the summer. You're going to be covering 10 miles on your, going Miracle Mile, having a great time there on Michigan Street. Yeah, you can wear these in a variety of situations. This pair right here has a leather sole, and this is going to be the dressier. Can you still wear this with a suit? Yes, you can wear this with a casual suit. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it wearing with a business suit with a necktie. It's going to be, out of its element. You could even wear this with shorts. That being said, it's something I think every man should have a pair of loafers in his wardrobe. They can be dressed up, dressed down, and again, come in a variety of colors, materials, and different styles. Next up, let's talk about the polo shirt. I'm not talking about those cheap ones that you can find for 10, 15, 20 bucks. I'm talking about higher end polos. The beautiful thing about the polo, especially for an old money wardrobe, is how it can work with a number of the trousers. You can dress down a suit by wearing it with, a polo. You can actually dress up just a regular pair of trousers or shorts by pairing them with the polo. You're also going to see the polos are going to start to bend. And, I talked about going with a lot of neutral colors. And yes, you're going to see tons of white polos, dark navy polos in the colors, very similar to the suits. But you're also going to see polos in a variety of brighter colors, of colors that, just simply pop a bit more. And this is where I think in an old money wardrobe, you can really have fun with color and still find ways to mix and match it with the other items in your wardrobe. Now, you will see some polos out there in a variety of patterns and really bright over the top colors. I would stay away from those. They're not going to work with your interchangeable wardrobe, and they just they're just not something that's going to work in an old money type of style. Now, really quick, I want to talk about the necktie. You've probably heard the reports the necktie is dead. head. Guys, nothing could be further from the truth. Things in fashion and style, they trend one way and the other. For the majority of men right now, wearing a necktie is not in. But if you look at history, the use of neckwear, this goes back thousands of years. And as long as, the elements, what happens when it gets cold? We still pull out the scarf. But scarves, why are they a variety of colors? Because color, especially around the neck, is a way to draw attention. Now, with an old money necktie, you're going to want to go with a classic color, looking at a variety of regimental stripes. Now, understand there are certain rules, especially over in the UK and that side of the pond, with wearing certain regimental stripes, but they're less followed over here in the United States. Although, if you went to an Ivy League, and that's what a lot of this stuff was, it signaled what club you were in, and that's were the only neckties men were actually able to wear going back over 100 years ago. Nowadays, it's not the case, and so you can bring in a variety of patterns, but I wouldn't go over the top. Go with, again, muted colors, muted tones. You can go with solids. I think navy is always a really nice. You can bring in woolen neckties. Paisleys, I think, are great if they're really small and subtle. Be very careful with dots. You don't want anything overly large. Small dots, though, are perfectly acceptable, but keep the patterns small and repeating. Next up, let's talk about chinos, also referred to as khakis, and the difference. Yeah, we're splitting hairs here. Really, remember, we talked about those rules at the beginning. The key here is to get the proper fit. A lot of you guys take care of your body. You want to have a pair of chinos, you want to have a pair of khakis that actually fit you well. Now, chinos come in a wide variety of colors, but I would stick again with the neutral palettes. That being said, if you want something different, maybe look at cavalry twill. That's a great option. Moleskin and corduroy, believe it or not, is going to be a classic look. Now, if you're going to go with corduroy, make sure that it's got 11 wales, not 7 wales. 7 wales, and that's the number of cords per inch. You want to have 11. It just looks dressier, and in my opinion, works better in a man's wardrobe. So we sort of covered accessories already when we talked about, hey, understand the rules. You definitely don't want to overdo it, but you want to make sure you've got the right accessories. When you wear a pair of trousers, pants, and they've got belt loops, you wear a belt. And if you're going to be wearing those, you wear a shirt that can tuck in. That being said, are you going to be tucking in a polo all the time? Not necessarily, but if you're wearing a dress shirt, if you're wearing a button down that needs to be tucked in, yes, you are. Now, you don't want anything over the top. You want to make sure that the measurements are about 1 1/4 inches. Anything over 1 1/2 inches is going to be a more casual belt that you would wear with jeans. And remember the simple rule of matching metals with metals and matching leathers with leathers. Do they need to exactly match up? No, but it does look good whenever they're close. In addition, let's not forget the pocket square. If this is too much for you, then look at a simple white linen pocket square. You fold it the right way, just go with a presidential fold. And for some reason, if you're super conscious about this, you can actually just let it tuck right in out of the way. But I do find that, hey, just go ahead and with all my jackets, a trick that I do is that they already have pocket squares in them. I leave them. So when I put the jacket on, it's already there. If it works with the combination, I leave it. But a lot of times I'm not even thinking about it. And that's where I want you to get with pocket squares. Go with the classic presidential fold. It's going to match anything. Now, when it comes to watches, do you need to go out there and spend gobs of money? Do you need to buy a Rolex or something even higher end? No, I don't think you do. I would say in general, you want to keep it muted. If you're going to grab a Rolex, maybe look at the Classic Explorer, one of my favorite watches. Maybe you want to go look at Cartier. You want to look at the Classic Tank. You want to look at the Santos. Actually, I absolutely love the Santos. Anyone else out there love it? But you want to go with something that has been around, something that's classic. What you're going to find is a lot of guys. I remember I had a friend, and this guy did come from money, and he just loved his Tudor. And this was something, it was an old classic, had been passed down. It was like over 50 years old. And the guy just wouldn't part with it. It was a little bit beat up, but this is the thing. And old money, again, it's not like faking it till you make it here. What I'm trying to impart on you is there's a lot of things that we can take from an old money wardrobe, which is buy good quality and take care of it. Now, gents, if you enjoyed this video, I think you're going to love this video. Stop wearing pajamas. Why did men stop dressing sharp to travel? Talk a little bit of history, get into, why you shouldn't be wearing pajamas when you're on the airplane. And check it out, guys. It's a good video. Really enjoyed making it, and I think that you will love it. Boom. Click here. Go check it out.